Hello everybody, welcome to the Wine Stain. I'm your host Dave Serfozo. Tonight we're going to try a couple of Cabernet Sauvignon from the Trader Joe's Reserve line, and that would be the top level of wines that Trader Joe's sells. They have a coastal line that runs in that $5 range, and then of course there's good old world famous $2 Chuck. Tonight the two Cabernets we're going to try, one is from the Alexander Valley, and that's a 2008 vintage. And the other one is from Mendocino, and that's a 2009 vintage. The Mendocino one, I've read a couple of reviews on where people were pretty positive on it. The Alexander Valley one, I have not seen anything on, other than the fact that people would talk about where it was from and give a few little pieces of information more geographically, but nothing on the taste of the wine itself. And the interesting thing is this Alexander Valley one is from Five Gold Hands Winery, and the other ones I've seen where people have reviewed it have said that it's from other wineries. So it looks like they're sourcing from a lot of different spots to bring this wine to us. The other one, the Mendocino one, is from DNA Vineyards, and that seems to be the case all the way across the board. Every review I've seen on it, they've talked about that as well. So let's try the Alexander Valley one and see what it has in store for us. Pretty typical plums, ripe plums, blackberries, maybe even boysenberries, the darker berry fruits I'm getting. A little woodsy, a little bit of cedar in there, not getting too much oak at all out of this. And the aromas are pretty muted. It's not a real aromatic wine, but let's see how it is on the old palate. It's made fairly well for a wine of 10 bucks. The acidity is fine, balance good. Finish is extremely short. It gets to the mid palate and then runs for the hills. It's certainly not a wine you're going to savor for any length of time. Nothing real exciting here. It's constructed okay, but from that point forward, it's pretty dull and not very memorable. So let's jump on to the other one. Hopefully it's a little bit better. All right. It's a very dark wine. That last wine, it was fruity, but a lot of times when you get those fruity, jammy wines, you expect it to hang around for a little while. That wine didn't do much at all. No tannins to speak of, so not that you were going to cellar that wine for more than 5 minutes, but just not an impressive showing. The aroma on this one already is more impressive than the last. So some similar notes, it's just they're a little stronger and a little more pronounced. Get a little bit of blueberry in there as well. Some milk chocolate, a little bit of leather in there. So the complexity of this wine just on the nose is much more than the previous one. So let's give this one a taste and see what we get. A much better wine. Also not one that you're going to hold for any length of time, but for being a 2009, it's matured, I think, to about where it's going to be. Some good flavors in this wine as well. It's a bigger, fuller wine than the Alexander Valley. That one was a little thin. This one has some depth to it. Much longer finish on this one. It's not going to last forever, but it's sufficient. And also a well-made wine, very well balanced. Acidity is good. Alcohol is good. Both of these, as far as alcohol goes, are in that 13.5 range. And it's a nice wine. For $10, go out and grab yourself some bottles of this. It's definitely worth that. So remember, it's the Mendocino one that you want to get. Last week, we showed you the painting that my son had done of the fish wrapped around the glass. Today, we have he has a unique sense of artistic thought process. That's a woodsman, of course, made out of wood, pouring some vintage. And one of the things that we're going to do with these two that we've shown so far, and next week there's going to be one that has a tiger involved in it, is we're going to ask you to name them at some point in the near future, and then we're going to auction them off for charity. So we hope you participate in that. And that's tonight's show. We'll be back next Friday with another show, and I've got some great things planned for you. Two Guys on Wine is coming soon, and that show is going to be a little bit different than a little bit more different than this show is. We're gonna have some fun with that. And we're hoping to take it out on the road as well. So we invite you to stay with us. Down there is the Facebook like button, or actually it's I think it's the drive to the Facebook site. If you haven't done it yet, click that like button. We'd greatly appreciate it. Last week we did the reviews on Wines That Rock, and Wines That Rock just hit 50,000 likes on their Facebook site. Congratulations to you guys over there at Wines That Rock. We want to get up there as well. We're not at 50,000 yet. We're not even at 1,000 yet. So we'd like to get to that point, so if you can do that for us, we'd greatly appreciate it. So that's all for tonight's show. We'll be back next week with another episode of The Wine Stain. We hope to see you here. Good night.